We went over the, the sector ETFs and a bunch of stocks in that sector. A lot of them bottoming out. You can catch it on YouTube. I can find you the link. Okay, so we got the markets up here at new all-time highs. They're up for 5 weeks in a row, breaking out, and we'll take a peek at the internals, but it's sentiment that's given us the warning, and breadth is just anemic, other than this one day. But we've got that breakout here, just starting out with the Dow here, which ended with a little topping tail, and it didn't go anywhere. Friday was an inside day. So I think if we do get further pushed lower here this morning, we'll look at the futures where those reference points are. Look for that gap fill to be the initial hold, this area right in here where there's support. So one of the things I wrote about in the letter was, hey, if we get a pullback, which makes sense based on the wrong way option traders loaded, to their eyes on call options here, it just makes sense to get some type of a minor correction, which really wouldn't be any big deal. I guess the big deal is always how far it goes, but we've got this little shelf of support here. We've got an unfilled gap, and we've got a whole lot of support in here. So we'll just see where it goes. And markets don't go straight up. Sometimes they seem like they're going to, but we've even got like a little measured move there. So let's see where it goes here. Let's SPX, kind of the same thing, where things came back nicely toward the end of the day on Friday. So one of the things that's happened over the last couple of weeks was that every Monday, or the last two, markets gap higher. So that was one of the things I mentioned in the letter was, well, traders, institutions, whatever, got long into the close on Friday. I would assume with expectations that, hey, it gapped up the last 2 weeks, it'll gap up again, and maybe it'll run, but by 10 o'clock, we'll take our money, and so on and so forth. And it's not happening today, and which could be a motivation to produce more selling if we don't get the bounce on this initial move to the downside. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on as well. But overall, uptrend on the weekly, uptrend here on the hourly. And so now we'll just see, does it hold this prior area here? And if not, well, then we'll look for it to go down to the next area or create support. It's just what we do every single day. So diamonds, we can see they're down a little bit into this gap fill area. The futures will give us a better insight as to the patterns, of course. But things to recognize the reference points of support and resistance, and this little shelf in here is definitely where we should find support, ideally, because if the market is as strong as it appears to be, and I think that the indices are masking that. And again, well, we can just look at it right now and look at the rest of the stuff, but just look at the breadth here. We've got the sentiment up at a historical extreme, and it doesn't get much higher than that, give or take. And we've got breadth with lower highs, and now even with the end of day buying on Friday, breadth closed under zero. So that's not a positive. It's not to suggest the market's going to collapse, but I mean, hey, this should be up here at 100, 200 with this rally, and it's not. I think it's part of that could be, the underperformance of the internet sector and some others that were leading, like solar deteriorated, Consumer staples kind of went flat where it was leading. That's more defensive. So there are, technology is still doing well, but there's others that they're not in there and participating. And you can see the breadth here, the day-to-day breadth. It's just around 100, and why, of course, this is kind of going down. So a little bit of a warning sign. Let's see. I mean, this could eventually is pulling it back a little bit. Buyers will step up, I believe, unless some more China news gets thrown into the wrench, and we'll see what happens. But historically, we know that at whatever level, buyers are going to step up, and that's just what they've been doing constantly here. So, all right, spiders for today. SPX 365 looks like a good level for puts. Let's see here, 365. Well, it's the bottom of this support here. Let's see where the S&Ps are at. I mean, it should hold ideally, which is this bottoming tail bar. So if we should get a retest of that, and we'll see where the futures are in relation to that, the theory is, yes, buyers should show up there. So even if we get a 15-minute reversal bar down there, well, then, yeah, we could sell a put spread expiring today. And then we'll see if it rallies. But maybe, we can make some assumptions with the bond market closed. This could be a good day for prices getting, pinned within this trading range between support and resistance, which would be good for that. All right, and there's the spiders down at 307. And I want to look at the futures, but not everybody has them. But look at the topping tail there, and it tried to go up. So sellers lurking up above, and that looks like it's coming down here. So let's see if it gets down there faster. 10 o'clock reversal period. We'll see how it all unfolds. But uptrend. Now this starting to move sideways, of course, and we'll see whether it's here or down here, which I think, right? Just thinking, I think this 306 area would be a better place if it continued down here. More of a, just a pivot, a shakeout. As you could see, the breakdown in the immediate reversals, which would suggest to me that it should hold. This one is already on the point of failure just based on the depth of retracement back into it. And Q's got more of a trading range up there, right? 3 days. And this is, pretty much what last week was a gap up, which is where the majority of the gains came. And then it was running in place, down, up, down, up. And, it was an up week, a positive week, but most markets didn't get very far from where they opened on Monday. Transports did well, and energy did well, but they're laggards. Transports kind of peekabooed above the top of the range. Just to take a quick look at that, you can see kind of peekabooed, like I say, up above the top of the range. You can see the weekly there with the tail, and then it came back in to close within the range. So just sideways, but obviously an improvement. It always is when they can get back up to resistance rather than break down through the bottom of support. But each time it's gotten there, it's ended up going back down. So we'll see this time if it can hang up there with the end of year seasonal bullishness, whether this can break out. Just be aware, this has gone nowhere since the end of 2017. False breakouts, false breakdowns, just chopping. So it would be a big positive if the transports could break out of this range and obviously make new all-time highs. So we'll see how that unfolds. The Russell, just chopping around up there. It's holding, so that's a positive. It's up at the top of the range, as you can see on the weekly. And I think, look, whether it's a couple of weeks, maybe as we get closer to the Thanksgiving holiday, just kind of speculating here, some chopping around here for a couple of weeks would just be great, because that holiday period historically is bullish, and that could be a good time where the markets then continue the rally, but we'll see how it all plays out. Looking at the futures, you can see they're coming down so far. It's just an inside day, not a big deal. And unless it was to break down below this 30, 64, 65 area here, it's just a sideways correction within a bullish uptrend, which would be really positive to go sideways after that rather than break down and potentially come down to this swing low here. So obviously we'd have to get through this area before we'd even consider this as a possibility. But you can see, you know, the weekly chart up 5 weeks in a row and got a stall on the daily time frames. Just going back there, little narrow bodied bars with a tail up there. So definitely, you know, prices have stalled. Looking at the NQs, same story, inside day, the topping tail stopped the move. Most of these closes or opens are in the same area. So for the most part, the markets aren't doing much here. They're running in place. They are in an uptrend. They're making minor little advances over the course of the week. Of course, that's a positive versus losing, but you know, this is early Monday. Maybe this is going to be the first correction bar within this weekly uptrend, which does not change the trend by any means, but it could be the start to some kind of a pullback. And you can see the whippy price action here on the hourly of the futures, lower high, higher low. You know, it looks to me like stay away unless it breaks this low down here. So if you're nimble, maybe you want to trade this from a smaller time frame on the short side. But you know, with this low down here, it doesn't look all that attractive to me. I would say probably not. Your reward to risk is probably 1-to-1, maybe. So sideways chop there. I mean, the best ideas what Paul has brought to the green room. Spreads on the SPX that expire the same day, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Iron Condors when they set up. Now this one looks a little bit more bearish, meaning we've got a breakout, right? Look at these 3 bars here, about even, highs, not quite, but they're close. A wide range bar, an inside bar. It's your textbook breakout bar failure from the MTS course and the swing course. Is to say, look, if you're long this is not a signal to sell short. It's a signal to take your money, right? Or at least half your money. Right? So there it is. It's triggered. It's trading under the inside bars low. If you want to save quiet, take a look at the above. So we're saying the 395, 3100, that spread there. I like it. Any problem signing into the green room? Not if you log into your member area, George. The ID was changed. So log into your member area and just click on the green room. I posted that in the that Iron Condor in YouTube. Those of you that are watching, it's a put spread and a call spread. So if you understand spreads, there you go. Expires today. All right, Russell. More of what we've seen in the other markets, a little bit more of a sideways consolidation. And you can see that the trading range there, that, you know, rejection, and rejecting to go down and down. And now you can see it's getting kind of tight here. So something we'll be watching to see if it can rally. But based on the weekly time frame, I'm thinking, you know, the greatest opportunity here is going to be if this can break this low here. So there's a nice void below to sell short. This is what I would go to as a short for the futures because it's got the biggest void. Now, let's assume it goes down there and it pops back up over the next few days. We really got to look at the Russell to, no, I don't want to do that, to really appreciate the possibility of the potential to make money on the long side. And like I said, maybe it's going to be a couple of weeks from now. You know, again, I'm speculating, but as I look at charts and say, hey, this is at the top of the range. Is it likely to keep running at this point? That's less likely, not without at least a correction bar, which would be, you know, maybe a bottoming tail bar this week that took out last week's low. But on the long side, this has the greatest potential if it can hold up here and break out of this range. So intraday shorting, Russell has the greatest potential. Maybe after some congestion, Russell has the greatest potential to fill the void up above. So part of the plan, short-term plan, long-term plan, and see how things would shape up. And someone's asking me about Ultra, and then I'm going to hand it over to Dan, since we're getting, I think Dan has it. Dan, don't you have a position in this?
I had it posted, but then it gapped over the entry, so I told him to hold off because I didn't like the retracement. So the answer is no.
So John in YouTube's asking about an Iron Condor in this, but I have no idea as far as premiums, but it could be since it's a higher price stock. But you can take a peek, Dan. I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Yeah, Alta. Yeah, I gave it on Thursday, and it gapped over the entry, and I just said hold off. And then over the weekend, I canceled it. It's more than 50% into there. Let's see. Let's go over opens real quick. We have a beautiful Tesla put spread. Oh, and I just sent out an alert here. Let me give it to you all. Sent that to subscribers. And that's it. That's going to make us flat in the weekly options trader. On the swing letter, AXP long stock, Charlie Echo long a half lot. And I said over this bar right here, we can add the back half. Checkpoint covered call for Friday. FL Florida long stock. Jable core long covered call core long. Look at this beautiful thing. A buy setup here, 180 reversal. After this pro gap here, gapped up, and we went core long. And I said target was 40. So our basis is under 32 bucks, and target 40 to 45. LTHM, this crazy stock we got into. We're long stock, and I moved the stop to Friday's low. NVIDIA covered call, core trade. And the same thing, because of when we did it on this gap up day, and it went against us a little bit there, but we sold a covered call every single week. So our cost basis on this is like 183 and change. That's the thing about that. We got a $24 open gain, and it's earnings this week. SKX, we're long stock. STX, long stock. That looks great. Love these gap reversals. Went sideways. We bought it on Thursday on the gap breakout. AT&T, we are long calls. TWO, long stock. Big target. That looks great. UNVR, we have a 1, 2, 3 on that, long stock. VIPS, long stock. And finally, put spread on X-ray. So everything looks fine there. Talking about marijuana stocks, I saw this one gapping up today, GWPH. I have no interest in that pattern though. Nasty gap down, topping tail there was a breakout failure. Sell set up on the weekly. Bearish and go. That's a bull sandwich on the weekly. I ran across this stock when I was looking at some old chart lessons on buy setups right here. And I said, wow, look at it, look at it. Bullish engulfing, bottoming tail, Thursday. Price void, weekly, monthly. So if this can hold, let's watch this for a 30-minute high or something. SMA-R gapping 38 bucks. It's a bearish gap. We'll come back to it. MAC. Why am I looking at MAC? It's opening flat, but that's, oh, I know why, because McGraw sent it to me saying unusual put activity. It's in a trading range here on the daily. You know, it did break down here and then made a higher high, but now it's deep retracement. It's in a downtrend weekly, monthly. You know, daily's not ideal for a new short. Remember this WBA? We were long stock here and also had some out of money call options. It spiked on buyout rumors. Now today, Bloomberg's reporting that, and then it fell back. I think Pat told us, they said that it was just a rumor. Say it's such a game. That's all you got to do is just control your press releases and look what happens. It's like a toy. So now it's back up. Gapping way the heck up here. I have no interest in messing with that. Sandal had earnings. What do they do? This could be setting up a bottom. Oh no, that's a marijuana stock. My bad. It's not earnings. Yeah, that's a marijuana stock because I typed the ones that I was interested in here from our scanning from yesterday. So GNLN, if it can get over Thursday's high, then it has a big price void. You know, $6 or so. ACB I like. CGC had a beautiful wide range engulfing on support. Yeah, I think this one had earnings this week though. A couple of these I would have posted. I think CGC, APC, and even Tilray Dog, but they have earnings. But that CGC looks great. Harvest, that one looks good. I put that in the letter. Retest on the weekly, climactic buy setup monthly. This one had a beautiful breakout on a Thursday. So we need a pullback on that. YOLO, this is an ETF similar to Michael Jackson. They both look like they're bottoming. SPWR, I'm not sure what's up with that. Gap into $9. It's a bullish gap, but there's no price void, but keep an eye on it. 9 had earning. Okay, yeah, these are my couple earning stocks right here. Look at that. It was, see, here's the problem with bottoming patterns. Look, that would have been an adequate entry right there, folks, on this daily breakout with the 20 flattening, little retest. And this is exactly the problem. They can get slammed right back down, and now it's a continuation on the short side. Fold. What do we got here? 950. It's a bullish gap. You know, sell set up on the weekly, so they're not in agreement, but maybe 30-minute high. This bullish consolidation here after this wide range igniting, that's holding well. NVEE gapping up, but that's just a gap up. That would be just a day trade is all, 30-minute high. You do not swing. You don't swing on the long side with an, that's a bear 1, 2, 3 gap. Oh, that's ugly. Carb, I don't know what's up with this, but 2290. The way it's facing pre-market, it kind of looks like a buyout. I saw in the news Goldman under fire here for, they're claiming discrimination against what credit that they give based on sex. Saying they give men a bigger credit. See, wouldn't you think if you were smart, you would do exactly opposite? Right? Aren't women the shoppers with the credit card? So give them a bigger limit if you want more business. And Goldman, it actually has to do with this Apple card, and Goldman's the one just administering it. Apple, remember, it had a bullish close Friday, but remember I cautioned that it is due for arrest. Let's see, the low 256.85. All right, well it's not gapping anywhere near Friday's low. Baba also in the news. They sold $30 billion worth of goods on their, what do they call it, Singles Day or something? But Baba and Baidu had a beautiful gap Friday. I know McGraw is in that. Wow. Remember Greg mentioned this stock this day. Look. Wow. That's what you get when you play with these animals. Wow. CRM. I don't know why I was watching that. Oh, I think these are just leftovers. Honeywell's too expensive for me, the bullish. Cisco. Nah. I like the weekly double bottom, but now I'm just deleting it here. But today's bearish gap. XSW might break out. Mighty Mo. I think this was mentioned in Barron's for some reason. It's what made me look at it. But I like kind of the reverse head and shoulders on Mighty Mo here. Look, red bar, bear 1, 2, 3, no follow through. Hey, Debbie. All right, now the market's heading lower. So yeah, I with the bearish pre-market, I'm favoring the call side first. And that would be the 309s for today.